10 marketing mistakes small businesses and solopreneurs make and how to avoid them. So starting a small business and growing a business as a solopreneur or with limited resources is a really big challenge. It's an exciting time for somebody when we get an opportunity to go out and start a business, and there's a lot of excitement around that. But there's also a lot of challenges and there's a lot of difficulty. And it's super important, especially if we're dealing with a limited budget and we have a limited team or staff, that we do things the right way. We don't have usually a lot of time or money to waste. So unfortunately, if we make too many mistakes in the beginning, it actually could doom the business to failure. It's really important that we understand some of the biggest mistakes that people make, and so we can prevent ourselves from making those and stack the odds of success in our favor. So it's vital, but it's really difficult to survive and grow, and it's important to be excellent at the marketing side of things so we're able to grow. Because the fact of the matter is, the marketing side is where we're going to be able to generate our sales. If we do everything right and we get all that stuff set up, that's fine, but we ultimately need to be able to generate revenue in order to get people to come into our business, in order to keep the engine moving so we can grow, so we can fund that growth, and so we have enough to pay the bills and survive. So ultimately, the unfortunate thing is because people are overstretched already, they already have too much to do, they don't have enough time, and they don't have enough resources, we end up, especially as solopreneurs, trying to do everything ourselves. And that can lead to a lot of mistakes. It leads to a lot of reactivity, it leads to a lot of firefighting, as opposed to being proactive about things, thinking them through and making sure that we're doing things the right way from the start. And unfortunately, if we make too many mistakes in the beginning, it can stunt the growth of the business, or it could plateau really fast. Sometimes we get out of the gate, starts to work, and then all of a sudden we're stuck, or possibly ultimately doom the business. And that's really unfortunate, because anybody that's got the guts, anybody that's got the drive and the motivation to start their own business should be able to be successful and should be able to live life on their own terms. I believe that. I think that anyone who's able to do that deserves to reap the rewards of being able to do that as well. And so let's talk about 10 common mistakes in marketing that solopreneurs and small businesses make and how to avoid them. So obviously, for small businesses and solopreneurs, we face a lot of unique challenges in marketing. We don't have a team. We don't have an expert in every functional area. We don't have somebody who can handle all the different tasks and do them one by one for us, and they're each a specialist in their own area like a big company would. And so because of that, we're not always the best at everything we do, but we also don't have enough functional knowledge. And so the first mistake that people make is not defining a target audience. It's very easy when we get an idea to start a business, just to start. We basically sign up file our forms with the state or the country or whatever, and we open our doors and we get the inventory or the stuff that we need, and we just start going without thinking through in advance who actually our target audience is. And I don't mean in general. I mean very specifically, having a really good idea of what kind of audience, what kind of a perfect avatar our customer would be. And so what a lot of small businesses do and solopreneurs is they try to appeal to everybody. The idea is, well, listen, if I have an offer and I try to send this out to everybody, I'll get some customers because some people will come to me. But actually what ends up happening is the reverse. When we're too much of a generalist and we're trying to appeal to too many people at once, we appeal to nobody, because there's a specialist in each of those areas that's appealing to each of the segments of the market we're trying to get, and those specialists are taking them away. So if we have a particular niche that we're looking to dominate, that's going to be a lot more powerful than just trying to be everything to everybody. And so when we do that, we end up having diluted messaging that doesn't really resonate effectively with anybody. So the marketing becomes ineffective because we don't really know who we're speaking to. And so if we identify a specific target audience, it's going to allow us to get more focused and impactful with our marketing, because we can really narrow down what their goals and dreams are, what their fears, what their issues are, what their problems, what they want to have solved, and we can speak to them directly. And when we do that, that's when we're more effective. The second mistake that small businesses and solopreneurs make, especially in marketing, is neglecting an online presence. If we set up a store, if we have a storefront or a retail business, oftentimes, obviously, if we're in a digital business, we're going to be doing things in the online world because it's where we hang out anyway. But I can't tell you the number of times that I've looked up a website for a company, even if they're a digital company, and it's basically some template of a website with broken links and a bunch of malformatted text, bad images, and it actually makes the company look bad. We never want to underestimate the fact that people might be searching for us, for one. And so they might go online and do a search, and if they find our site, we want to be able to benefit from that traffic. If when they get to the site it looks bad, it's just going to turn people off. So whether we have a physical business or whether we have a digital business, it's important that we have some sort of an online presence, social media accounts, whatever, but particularly a website. And a website that's at least professional enough that it reflects confidence in who we are and what we do. And it gives people a good idea of what we stand for. When we have that, it instills confidence in customers and builds up our credibility. I've gone to companies' websites that I was considering doing business with, and when I saw that the website looked like a broken template of some sort, it made me question whether or not they were professional. On the flip side of that, I've gone to websites where it was so professional and smooth and clean. I was really impressed, and I said, wow, they must have their stuff in order. It's like the old adage they used to say with a restaurant. If you want to know how clean a kitchen is in a restaurant, go to the bathroom. If the bathroom is a total mess, the kitchen, which is another area that customers never see, is probably a mess also. If the bathroom's clean, the kitchen's probably clean. And it's just a general rule of thumb. It's the same idea. If your one representation of your company online looks like it's amateurish, the impression you're going to create is that you're an amateur. And especially if we have an online business, but even if we have an offline one, we want to have a website with some coupons or a sign-up sheet or something so we can start to build leads and grow through that. Because the vast majority of people now, when they're looking to do business with somebody or considering buying a product or service, actually look it up online. I know I've done this for restaurants in the area. When we've been trying to figure out, where do we want to go eat? I will look them up. And some, even if they get good reviews, if I look at the site and I'm not that impressed with it, we might not go there. And so it absolutely does matter, and it's easy to overlook because it's an expense, but it's when you do it once and you do it the right way, then it's done, and you don't need to really mess with it after that. So if we fail to invest in a professional website, social media presence, or search engine optimization even, that can really hinder our visibility and credibility. Now, the search engine optimization is a personal preference. If that matters to your business and you want to do that, it's important that we start to do it and we understand it's a long-term prospect. We don't start search engine optimization today, get a flood of traffic tomorrow. There's a lag effect. It takes some time. The third mistake that solopreneurs and small businesses make is ignoring customer feedback. Now, a lot of times, this is not based on a lack of interest in helping a customer. A lot of times, this is because of overwhelm. We get to a point where we have so many things that we need to do to run the business that ultimately the customer stuff just sort of gets pushed to we fight the fires that are important. If someone's screaming at us or needs a refund or whatever, we might do that. But if we have people that are out there that are reaching out to us, we rarely acknowledge it if it's positive, and we rarely address it if it's negative unless it's a problem. And what the missed opportunity there is the fact that any customer that reaches out, the vast majority of customers that deal with us as a business will never say anything. If they like us, they'll keep coming back. If they don't, they won't. And they'll never speak up one way or the other. The customers that actually reach out are the ones that we want to invest in, because the fact of the matter is they'll be the ones that will be our marketing arm. They will be our evangelists. If we take care of them, they'll turn around and go out and spread the word. Now, again, this is not an overnight thing, so it's not instant gratification. It's not like you take care of a customer today, tomorrow you get 100 new referral customers. But it's a cumulative effect that affects the brand, it affects the image of the company, and it affects the overall credibility. So small businesses may overlook the importance of proactively gathering that data. For one, sometimes the only time that data comes in is if an email happens to trickle through, or a social media comment or whatever about someone who's happy or upset or whatever. But we can actually proactively try to gather that and then act on it. If somebody reaches out to us and says, this product was amazing, it changed my life, fantastic. Thank them so much for reaching out. Ask them if you can use that in your marketing and share that with other customers. And if they're upset, fix the problem. Oftentimes, if we have somebody who has an issue, despite the fact that it's frustrating that the issue came up, and despite the fact that it might wound our ego a little bit if they aren't thrilled about their purchase, the fact is, if we take care of them, they are largely going to be someone who will then talk about how well we took care of them. So it's important that we absolutely do that. And if we don't, it can result in missed opportunities for improvement, first of all. So we might end up with the same recurring issues. It can damage customer relationships, but also on the flip side, it can cost us a lot of word of mouth referral advertising, which is by far the most effective and also the cheapest. The next mistake that solopreneurs and small businesses make is they underestimate the importance of branding. So oftentimes when we say the word branding, what we think of is Nike, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, big brands that build, big companies that build big brands that are ubiquitous, that everybody knows and understands. But that is only the tip of the iceberg. They have to do it because of the level of business that they're at. But branding goes beyond just a logo, right, and a color scheme. It encompasses the overall perception of a business. And so when we want to think about our brand, we want to think about if we were our own customer and we were interviewed by somebody and asked, what 3 words come to mind about this particular company? Those 3 words or 4 words or however many words we want it to be, we want those things to be the things that every customer would say. Not one customer, but we want to create that impression in everybody so every customer that's asked about us has the same reaction. When we do that, and by the way, a positive one, when we do that, it's positive and it's universal. Now we've really built a brand. We've gotten to a point where people understand who we are, they're comfortable sharing who we are, and it's easy to leverage that in all of our marketing and all the other efforts that we have. When we neglect to develop a strong brand identity, so we're using, different color schemes and different fonts with all of our marketing, the logo's not really present on anything. We don't really have any hard and true values. We sort of take good care of this customer, the other one, we sort of, we put out one really excellent product in this particular area or that fits this need, and then sort of a B- product over here. It confuses people. It creates an inconsistent message. And in today's, overwhelming sort of information overload society, that's challenging. That's going to cause problems. We don't want our customers to be confused, and we don't want our customers to have an inconsistent experience, because when that happens, it leads to apathy. And when people are apathetic about us, they go to our competitors. We want customers to be in love with us. We want customers to go out of their way to do business with us. And we want customers to tell everybody about us. Now, again, these are all sort of proactive things that require proactivity to do. None of these are instantly gratifying. None of these are things that are going to give us an immediate return on investment. So it's understandable why it would be difficult to get to this stuff. At the same time, if we don't think it through in advance, we end up on the sort of escalator or roller coaster, and it's already too late. We're already busy and overwhelmed. And now we're trying to go back and sort of put the cat back in the bag and figure out, okay, what do we stand for? It's already too late. It's already really difficult. We're already overwhelmed. if we think this stuff through now, or before we start, or if we've already started now, before we get any deeper into it, we have an opportunity to proactively address all these things. Most of them are things that once they've been decided, the trickiest thing is just making the decisions. Do the research, make the decisions. Once they've been decided, we just execute. We don't need to keep going back over it. So it's just a matter of making sure we're proactive and deliberate about all these things. The next mistake is overlooking content marketing. You know, content marketing, again, is one of these things that if you've heard about it or you know about it, then the perception is, well, we need this overwhelming amount of content. I've got to be publishing articles and videos and, audios and podcasts and stuff every single day in order to have any impact. It's true and it's not. The relevancy and the consistency is really important, but it isn't as important to get something out every day as it is to do it consistently. If we're only publishing something once a week, but it's all consistent, the messaging is consistent, the marketing messages are consistent, the quality is consistent, and all that's consistent, you'll be amazed how fast a year goes and how fast that whole thing builds up. The key is, again, integrating it into our schedule so we're doing this automatically as part of the daily routine. If we wait the 6 months and then we go back and think, if I had only done content marketing, now I got to catch up for those 6 months. Let me go back and do it. It's too late. You can't go back and do the content. You could start now, but now you have another 6-month lag before you'd get to where you would already be. If you start the content marketing today, again, come up with a strategy that makes sense and make consistent content and make the strategy something that is executable. If it's so lofty you'll never get to it, then it doesn't make any sense to do it because we won't stick with it. But it's a really powerful tool for building brand awareness. And because it's not all marketing, sales stuff, it has more authority. People take it, as a much better credibility builder than running ads. When it's an ad, everybody knows you're trying to make sales. So everybody knows that it's basically an effort to put money in your pocket, and that makes people a little bit cynical about it. If it's content that benefits people, that helps our target audience, it helps raise our awareness, it establishes our authority, and it also nurtures customer relationships. The customer relationship is not a swing and a hit or swing and a miss type situation. It's a gradual massaging of, somebody's impression of us until they get to know us and get to like us, right? It's a long-term relationship, so to speak. It's not a one-night stand. So if we try to create an ad that's going to wow people, that may work. But the fact of the matter is that's not going to be the long-term solution. The long-term solution is to gradually bring people around to think, hey, these people are really on the ball. They know what they're talking about. I read that article, I saw that video, and they nailed my problem spot on. That's going to get them to take notice when you publish more stuff, which is going to get them to take notice when you publish more stuff. Then they're going to start to share it. And it has a cumulative effect that takes a little bit of time to take hold, but once it does, it can really be a great source of viral growth. So small businesses may miss out on this opportunity because we don't create valuable and relevant content for our audience. The next mistake is failing to track and analyze results. Again, we get busy, we're doing. If we're busy, sales seem to be coming in, we're good. That's not the right way to go about it. If we don't track our marketing efforts, if we don't analyze our data, if we don't know where our sales are coming from, if we don't know what efforts we're using are getting results and what ones aren't, it becomes really difficult to know what strategies are working. And so it becomes very difficult to be efficient with our time. We end up getting oversubscribed. We end up doing too many things not well enough. And there are a core group of activities that would have been better suited for us to go all in on, and a core group of activities we'd be better off just to get rid of. And by analyzing data, by collecting data and analyzing it, we can see that very clearly. We give strategies time to work, we analyze it, and we look for trends. Any trend that shows us that things are improving, that we're getting traction, we lean into. Anything that isn't working, We ask, is there a way that we could optimize this so it will do better? And if there is, we could try that and then monitor it. If there isn't, we cut it loose, at least for now. We can always come back to it. But we want to feed the winners and we want to starve the losers. That's exactly how it works. Otherwise, it leads to wasted resources and missed opportunities for optimization. And as small businesses and solopreneurs, we don't have that luxury. Another mistake is relying solely on paid advertising. The common perception is because it's instantly gratifying, if I run an ad, I can make sales today. That's true. But paid advertising, particularly in the online world, has gotten to a point of sort of, not saturation, but it's got to a point of maturity where the advertisers that are doing it well are spending a lot of money because they have a very robust and highly efficient and optimized funnel on the back of their sales process. They're not trying to break even on the front end sale. A lot of the advertising run online is designed to generate leads. They're going to lose money on the front end, but they know because they have a robust back end, they're going to make enough. If we don't have that full funnel already in place, paid advertising can actually run us out of business faster than anything else because it can be effective, but relying solely on it, especially as a small business with a limited budget, is really, really risky. And in general, as I mentioned, most businesses do not make money initially. You need a big cushion of working capital to be able to run ads and then convert customers down the road and build them into a funnel where you're going to generate money down the road. So if you have enough float, you may be able to get away with it, especially if you're really good at the advertising. But if you're not, it might not be even the first way to start. It's probably better to start with some of the more organic methods instead. Integrating other marketing tactics like organic social media, email marketing, and content creation can give us more sustainable results that ultimately are actually cheaper. Another issue is lack of consistency. Consistency is the key in marketing, right? It's fine to try different things. We definitely want to do that. But posting sporadically on social media, having an irregular email or newsletter, sort of set up, changing messages frequently, just sort of trying various things, looking for that home run that then we could latch onto is not an effective marketing method. Almost anything and everything we do is not going to work great right out of the gate. We're going to need to optimize it. So we need to decide in advance what 1, 2, 3 marketing channels we're going to use. We need to lean into those and we need to fully engage with those. Give it our best shot for a certain period of time, 30, 60, 90 days. Then if we're not seeing any results, we can see if we can adjust something or we can move on to something else. But if we just try a bunch of stuff and then wait to see what works best and then try to go all in on that, that's rarely going to work because what we're going to find is almost none of it works. Because usually the stuff only works when we're fully engaged in it. So we have to give it enough chance to succeed. So we want to keep our messaging consistent initially. We can change it later if it isn't working. Keep our frequency and scheduling consistent. How often we send emails, how often we post content, how often we run ads, all that. Otherwise, we can confuse and disengage our audience. And another issue is ignoring mobile users. So understanding that now the vast majority of people are looking online through their mobile device. So it's vitally important that our website and all of our social media stuff is mobile friendly, right? Mobile responsive. You want to look up your own website on your mobile phone, make sure it looks good. We want to engage in marketing efforts that involve the mobile phone, whether it's SMS, whether it is ads that display well on mobile, not just on a desktop, all that kind of stuff. If we neglect mobile optimization, it can ultimately hurt our user experience and lost opportunities for engagement. And then the last problem is the failure to adapt and evolve. No matter what we're doing and no matter how well it's working or not, everything is always changing. So as a small business owner and a solopreneur, we need to take hold of that, take that to heart, and just expect that we're going to need to adapt and evolve. Markets are always changing. Businesses, industries, competition. If we fail to adapt our marketing strategies, then we can quickly fall behind. We have to keep up with industry trends, technological trends, economic trends, and continually refine our marketing tactics for long-term success. So the takeaway here is that every business owner and entrepreneur is going to make mistakes. But it's important that especially when we're starting out or trying to grow, that we minimize them so we can succeed because we have little buffer at that point. By having awareness of some of the most common pitfalls, it makes it easier to be proactive and take control to do all the important marketing tasks the right way from the beginning. There are never any guarantees in any business, but at least we can maximize our odds of success if we're smart and we do our marketing the most effective way possible.